Hello friends, good morning everybody. How are you? Hope all of you are happy and safe. Friends, in offline period, we completed discussion on life and work of William Shakespeare. We discussed on his different works, his plays, poetries, and about his life also. We also uh, discussed on his four periods. His literary works are divided in four periods, and we completed the discussion on literary periods also. And also, friends, in offline period, I introduced you the characters in Hamlet. Today, we will continue the discussion on characters. So, most of the characters in Hamlet are the citizen of Denmark and members of royal court. The characters are deeply suspicious of one another. There is no trust. It becomes clear that the king may have been murdered and by his brother Claudius, as Hamlet is one of the great tragedies. I already told you that King Lear, Macbeth, Othello, and Hamlet are known as the four great tragedies, and Hamlet is one of these. Here, each character carries within themselves tragic characteristics, and these characteristics contributes to their own downfall. So, it is in particular the unstable atmosphere of the new court of Claudius that brings about much of the actions of the play. So, let's start discussion on the characters. Here, Hamlet is the central character of this play. Claudius, Polonius, Ophelia, Gertrude, Horatio, Lariot, Frontius, the host, Rosencraze and Gilstron are the characters which we have to discuss. Okay, then let's go ahead. The first character is Hamlet. Just a minute. Yes, here is slight spelling mistake. Anyway, okay. The protagonist, Hamlet, is the protagonist of the play. He is the central character. He is very beloved prince of Denmark. He is a thoughtful person and melancholy young man. Melancholy here means trasdayak, just like. And he was totally disturbed because of his father's death. Hamlet is went in depressed because his uncle Claudius is the king, or his succession to the throne, and his subsequent marriage to his mother Gertrude. When the ghost of King, Hamlet's father, tells him about his murder by his own brother, means Junior Hamlet's uncle Claudius, and that Hamlet must take revenge on Claudius. Hamlet becomes almost suicidal and absorbed with revenge and is slowly driven and by his inability to act on these instructions. Means he take very much time to take the action or to follow his father's order, where he try to work very smartly, intelligently. Hamlet decides to fake madness in order to fool his uncle and those loyal to him while he uncovers whether Claudius is guilty for his father's death. Means he tried to confirm it. For it he pretend as a madman. He behaved as a mad person. Although often his mental health is genuinely in question, and that's why his mental health is in genuinely question, worried about his own guilt. Hamlet also becomes hateful, despising his uncle, voicing anger at his mother. He was very angry with his mother also, as he married to his own uncle Claudius. And then he was frustrated with his traitors, friends who deceived him, alienating Ophelia. His mother married with another person, her own brother-in-law, and that's why he alienates Ophelia. He thinks wrong about her, and that's why also his anger borders on ruthlessness, and he is responsible for numerous deaths throughout the play. But he never loses his reflective and melancholy traits. Also means he is one of the most important characters from the start to end, up to his death. Then next character is here Claudius. Claudius, he is the antagonist of the play. Antagonist means what? Antagonist means Virodak, or here he just worked as a villain in short. He is the present king of Denmark and Hamlet's uncle also. According to the ghost of Hamlet's father, or the King Hamlet, Claudius is his killer. When we first introduce Claudius, we see him scolding Hamlet for still being so gloom about his father's death and forbids him to return to his university studies in Wittenberg. Means when his father died, Hamlet was studying in Wittenberg, and his uncle scolds that he should return to his university studies in Wittenberg. Claudius is convening the strategist who poisoned his own brother in cold blood. He remains calculating, unloving throughout the play. Driven by his ambition and lust. What is his ambition? To become king is his ambition. Lust for his own sister-in-law or his own brother's wife, Gertrude, is shown here clearly. After some days or within some days, he married his own brother's wife, and that is what disturbs Hamlet. When he realized that Hamlet is not mad, he is pretended, he is originally believed. In fact, he possesses a threat to his own crown. Claudius quickly begins to plot Hamlet's death. This plan ultimately leads to Claudius' death at Hamlet's hand at the end of the play. Because of his own plan, he died. Claudius also has an honorable side. When Hamlet has a travelling troupe put on a play for the court that emulates or follow the murder of King Claudius, means he reveals through this play in the court, and at that time Claudius reveals his own sense of guilt. He also decides to have Ophelia buried with ceremony rather than a suicide. His love for Gertrude also seems very sincere. Gertrude, his brother, or King Hamlet's wife, is Gertrude. After the murder of his own brother, he married Gertrude, and he shows his love for her. The next character is Polonius. Polonius. Polonius, he was the main advisor of the king Claudius. Also, he is main advisor to the king Hamlet. Also means he is the main advisor of the Denmark. He was known as the Lord Chamberlain, and we see him with very attitude and arrogant person. He is a person who had attitude and arrogant person. We know him, or we meet him as an arrogant person. He is also Ophelia's father. Ophelia and Laertes and Ophelia both are sister and brother, and Polonius was the father of both of them. As Laertes sets off for France to continue his studies, Polonius gives him paradoxical advice, including the famous quotation, "To thine own self be true." And in this ironic line from a man who cannot keep his advice consistent, means he changed his advice, so he is not loyal with his advice or his work as advisor. When Hamlet goes to mother's bedchamber, attempting to comfort her about his father's murder, he finds there Polonius behind the curtain, and that's why he supposed him as a King Claudius, his own uncle. And here just a minute. Yes. When Hamlet sees behind the curtain Polonius, he mistaken him as the King Claudius, and he, with his mistaken identity, killed him, murdered him. Then our next character is Ophelia. Ophelia, just I told you that Ophelia is Polonius' daughter and sister. She is very obedient, and that's why with she is obedient, she agreed not to see Hamlet anymore at her father's suggestion and spying on Hamlet when asked by Claudius. She believes that Hamlet loves her, but despite of his inconsistent courtship, she devastated during a conversation in which he seems not to love her at all. When Hamlet kills her father, she goes mad, drowns in the river, and makes suicide. Her suicide is an ambiguous thing, and Ophelia is a feminine, almost maidenly throughout a play, and she is able to counter the Hamlet speech. Next character is Gertrude. Gertrude is a queen of Denmark and Hamlet's mother also. She was originally married to Hamlet's father, who was the dead king, King Hamlet. But in this play, we see that she had married to the new king Claudius. Her former brother-in-law became her own husband. Gertrude's son Hamlet regards her with suspicion, wondering whether she had a hand in his father's murder. He wanted to know it. Gertrude was rather weak and unable to match wits in an argument. But her love for her son remains strong. Means she loves very strongly. She also enjoys the physical aspects of her marriage to Claudius. A point that disturbs Hamlet. It disturbs Hamlet as his mother married to another person. He cannot tolerate it. After the sword fight between Hamlet and Lorette, Gertrude drinks the poisoned globet meant for Hamlet and dies. This is of Gertrude. She also died in the end. Horatio. Horatio is Hamlet's best friend and confidant. He is a cautious, scholarly, and a good man, and also known for giving good advice. As Hamlet lies dying at the end of the play, Horatio considers suicide, but Hamlet convinces him to live to tell the story. The next character is Lorette. He is Polonius' son and Ophelia's brother, as well as a clear foil to Hamlet. He deceived Hamlet. And Hamlet is contemplative and frozen by emotions. Lorette is reactive and quick to action. When he hears of his brother's death, Lorette is ready to raise a rebellion against Claudius. But his sister's madness allows Claudius to convenience him. Hamlet is at fault. Unlike Hamlet, Lorette still stop at nothing but for only revenge. In the end of the play, Hamlet kills Lorette. As he lies dying, Lorette admits to Claudius' plot to kill Hamlet. He here admits that he says that King Claudius is the responsible for the death of his father. Frontinbas. He is the prince of Norway and also enemy of Hamlet. As his father, King Hamlet, was killed, Frontinbas' father, and that's why Frontinbas is looking for revenge. Frontinbas arrives in Denmark. Frontinbas arrives in Denmark just before the climax of the play, and at Hamlet's recommendation, due to the distant connection, Frontinbas becomes the next king of Denmark also. The next character is the ghost. Here we see ghost from the beginning to the end of the play. The number of times we encounter with the ghost. The ghost claims that he is Hamlet's dead father, King Hamlet, the former king of Denmark. And he appeared as a ghost in the first scene of the play, informing Hamlet and others, and that he was murdered by his brother Claudius, and who poured poison into his ear while he slept. Here totally ghost is responsible for this tragedy or the action of the play, but its origins are unclear. Hamlet once worries that this spectator might be sent by the devil to incite him to murder. But the mystery is never unsolved. So, there are last two very minor characters, Rosencraze and Galston. These are very minor characters, and here they both of them are the two new acquaintances of Hamlet who are asked to spy on the young prince in order to figure out the cause of his madness. Both are rather spineless and obedient. Rosencrantz more so than Gladstone, and neither is intelligent enough to really fool Hamlet. After Hamlet kills Polonius, Rosencrantz and Gladstone accompany him to England. They have a secret order from the King of England to behead Hamlet on arrival, but the ship is attacked by pirates, and when the Rosencrantz and Gladstone arrive in England, their heads are chopped off instantly. These are some characters which we discussed here. Listen carefully, watch carefully. There are some important points on every screen, so follow these things. From next video we will start summary of Hamlet act by act. There are 5 act, this is 5 act play. We will complete it in 2 or 3 videos, and then again we should discuss on plot and theme of the novel, and also about the seminar or assignment also. Thank you very much.